very exciting ball game. More than anything, I talked with the team about the appreciation I had for the desire to get back in there and play when some of the guys aren't 100%. You could see them fighting through some things, and the game was there for the taking, but their at-bats on the back end of the game, and I'm sure we helped. Some of the base on balls I clearly helped, but they were able to accrue enough opportunity and did some damage and had the quality at-bats on the back end of the game, and their two relievers that finished it were very tough, and they just continued to add those single runs until they had the big inning, and we were still in it, and then that big inning obviously opened it up. Bo Meister asked, I don't know how many times, if he could be available to throw an inning, and Chuck works with these guys every single day, and when you have a guy like that wants to compete, and he's coming off a start where he threw 60 pitches, so if it's in the cards, today was the day that it lined up to be in the cards. And I don't know in, out, up. I can tell up, down a little bit, but the velocity's clearly, it was the best we'd seen out of him. So that was good. And Diamez out there grinding through everything that you could happen when you're working through a finger issue. It all happened. Like he's having to crash into the wall, then he's having to throw the ball, then he's diving into home plate. And he's just a special young man that gives you everything he's got. It was good to have Cam back in there. He had a nice day at the plate. And Holbrook is a little bit of a work in progress with getting him back 100%. But these guys came to compete in games like this, and they wanted to do it. And the loss was very difficult, and it wasn't quite good enough on the back end. But man, the effort and the desire to perform and play, I thought we handled things okay defensively with some guys moved around, and that was good to see because that had been something that was a challenge for us at times. But at the end of the day, they were better than us in the back end of the game.
In the eighth, I know you mentioned you guys had some walks, but it also just seemed like everything they hit just found the right spot on the field. Just after the last week or so, just how frustrating was that to watch?
It was tough, and contact of any sort is better than none. And you saw it today. A couple of the balls they chopped off the plate, I don't know if you could drop them in better spots on the backside of the pitcher's mound area. But they're physical. It's a physical lineup top to bottom, and if you don't finish them like with the punch out, their ability to manage and just stay alive, you saw it against some good stuff, and they earned it. But again, the fight of the guys to try to make it work was nice to see the desire of these guys to go out and how they actually went about it.
And you mentioned their desire. Is confidence something that remains high in that clubhouse and something?
Yeah, they're fine. Like you saw them today, like they came out fine. So I don't sense that at all. Like, once the game starts and you get into even the pregame stuff, they're into it and they're engaged. But it's difficult to walk off the field repeatedly feeling like that. I do not sense in any way a lack of confidence. I think it's, to be honest, a lack of continuity. We have had no rhythm or semblance of kind of a batting order, a lineup, a rotation, a relief role. That's the biggest concern, is just the continuity and the semblance of some rhythm to what you're trying to do with the lineup and who's out there, and even with the pitching roles.
In some of the walks, is there the challenge of getting a strikeout pitch, or is it not wanting to challenge some of the big hitters, or what do you think?
I mean, to be honest, it's just the fine-tuning command of the stuff, and that's the essence of it. And now in this setting, are guys trying to maybe do a little bit more and they lose some of the command? I guess it's possible, and again, some of them haven't been in this environment. This type of environment, even the guys that have pitched for us, this is a little bit different. So I don't know if that factored in. But the secondary pitches, that's kind of what you normally finish people with. I mean, J-Bomb can finish people with an up fastball, but Kirkland and Whitaker and even Jamie Arnold and David Barrett is secondary pitch management, and the execution of those is how you finish. And the stuff has to be enough. We kind of felt like they were on Whitaker, and we didn't want to just leave Whitaker in there. He's thrown so much for us, but I think it's a combination of numerous factors.
You're able to get 4 from Ben. It looked like he was able to really get the slider and changeup going. Just how pleased have you been with his progression the last couple of outings on the mound?
They're great, and that's what we'd seen when he was good in all of our scrimmages and training sessions. That's what it was. There's enough velo and movement on the fastball, especially when it's down, and the secondary pitches are both good, and he's athletic. So that was great. He's not equipped right now to go much beyond, I think he threw 56 pitches. That was about the threshold that we felt made sense, and you could see it start to look like they were a little more on it than when the game started, and Chuck felt like that was probably the time to make the next step, and we had some momentum, and we did. But that was good to see, and we're going to need him. That was exactly what we hoped we would see out of him.
What's the balance of trying to get him at bats and on the mound? Like, what's that balancing act like right now?
It's a good problem. I can't tell you how crazy it was leading up to this. Like, some of the guys needed to go through pregame batting practice and take ground balls and run around to see if they could play. So there was a time when him DHing and being the starting pitcher was discussed, but Diamez is in play as a DH, so is Holbrook, and it just didn't materialize. So today it was not something that was in the cards, but that's an option, and first base is an option for him too. So when you have a talented kid like that, you do have to find the balancing act. It's not easy, and today it cleaned itself up a little bit because of the personnel that was able to go out there, and with him starting, it just made sense to let him just pitch.
You got Cam back in the lineup today, and the early count aggression and the line drives, is that more of the approach you want to see out of him?
That was great. We've seen the display of talent, and we talk and work so much on trying to fine-tune the approach of the at-bat and what you're looking to hit, and the ability to adjust to the secondary pitches. And the more he goes up there and sees pitches and plays at this level, it's going to escalate into, I think, more days like this. And he's a competitor in that he wanted to be out there worse than anything, and for him this weekend was as difficult a feel I've had from a player that knew he couldn't play but wanted to play. So sometimes through the adversity you learn a lot, and I learned a lot about him this weekend not playing, and then you could see the excitement and the result of him actually getting his shot to be back in there.
When you're in this little bit of a rut, I don't know if going on the road to a top 10 team is what the doctor ordered, but is this something that at least keeps you guys focused and keeps giving you a good barometer to measure where you're at and where you want to go?
You don't get a better barometer than the stretch we're running through. You could dig into any conference schedule, and starting tonight at Virginia and then this again and at Miami, I don't know that it gets much more difficult than that. So the barometer's right in your face, right? It's staring at us. It's not, I told him before the game, this isn't necessarily about who. I said reshuffle the word, it's how. Like, how you play will take care of it. If you play the game properly, you're going to be just fine. We hadn't played enough, and in part because we've got guys all over the map right now, but it's how. I want them to focus more on how we're doing this than necessarily who rolls out there.
How's Wyatt doing, and what's the rotation looking like for Virginia?
He's doing better. Like, it's been better every single day. He's going to throw tomorrow, so we'll know a lot more. He's going to dial it up good tomorrow, and he's been trending just fine. So I don't have any idea just yet what we'll do rotation-wise, but the positive side is he's been just better and better every day. So we clearly need him. It's hard to go through a whole week without him, throwing a pitch for you, and I think he's headed back in the right direction.